Lindley Johnson. Lindley Johnson, please bring your animal ringside. Lindley Johnson, please bring your animal ringside.
Well, the quality keeps coming here on the Red Angus side, and the heifer that we used to win, I think, is built pretty neat at the surface in terms of her foot size and shape. Love that one, just angulation off of both ends of her skeleton, how comfortable she gets out and goes off of both ends. As you study that one from their bold and maternal in terms of her body shape, dead level down her top line, and I like the way that one's tail head lays into her skeleton from up above. The heifer that just gives you an overall cowy maternal look. If you want to get critical of that heifer, I'd like to see her neater and just more tucked up in her chest floor, or as you study her in comparison to the remainder of her lower body line. But I think that's getting critical. The female puts a lot of neat things together, and an absolute outlier in terms of her comfort at the surface. The dark red heifer that we have rolling out next, one that I'm drawn to just in terms of her overall look and eye appeal here on the stand. I like that one's bold, dimensional center body. She too has just a maternal look here from the side profile, and I like that one's added stoutness of feature. As we send him into motion, that's where she sorts in a second. I'd like to see that one neater and just further set back and angle to her shoulder knee and set down with just a bit more comfort and authority out of her hip and hind leg when we compare her back to our class winner. Still an extremely high quality female standing there in second. Congratulations.
Congratulations to Class 6. The winner belongs to entry number 3401, Brantley Wilkerson of Canton, Texas. In second place belongs to entry number 6694, Claire Elder of Canton, Oklahoma. Both of those calves, first and second place, are also your Grand and Reserve Champion, Fall Heifer Calf Champion and Reserve Champion. We're going to be moving into class number 8, Late Summer Yearlings Calf, July through August of 2018. We have two entries. Entry number 5984, Lillian Johnson of Happy, Texas. Entry number 6325, Kaylee Shine of Watonga, Oklahoma.
Class 7 should be lining up. We need Abigail Dilbeck and Cooper Crum. We need you at the gate for Class 7. Class 8, you need to be ready to go. Elena Center, Ethan Rockwell, Daisy Howell, Ketch Pays, Ty Davis, Maddie Hanson, Faith Shirley, Hannah Allure, Katie Golden, Alexandria Moore, and Katya Voloshin. We need you ready for Class 8.
Oh, she's got it.
Last call for Lindley Johnson. Last call for Lindley Johnson.
I'm trying to answer.
Alright, as we move into this class here, to be honest with you, if you don't think Snowball needs to win, we're not going to see Paddle the same, because I think Ray Charles could find him at the top of this class compared to his peers and contemporaries. He just wins it in every way possible. That is one that is powerful in terms of his shape, burly in terms of his build, tremendous in terms of his proportions, still has a very show ring oriented look from the side, and one of the sounder moving rascals in this particular class. So the easy thing to do is to find him to the top. Congratulations. I think the decision between 2, 3, and 4 are the most challenging and interesting, and they come to me at different times, and I've had them in different areas. The black steer is the one that's most like the class winner in terms of his elite look from the side, in terms of that added skeletal length, one that again has lots of foot and bone, lots of power. When that kid gets in motion, he gets awkward and unstable in the way that he handles his rear hip and hunk. He's got to drive lot better off those rear two, and one that just doesn't have the center body width and dimension of Mighty Whitey that wins, but a nice one to stand second. A lot of you people won't have this yellow ball this high. That one's as powerful as any of them in terms of his muscularity and how much shape he has up high. He is really good in terms of his depth of side and his power in terms of his rib cage. One that's nice enough in terms of his bone. He doesn't have any fancy whistles and bells from the side view profile, I get that. And he's one that gets a little narrow in terms of the way that he handles his rear hog, but he's significantly better in terms of the way that he handles his spine than the calf that comes in fourth. That is as good looking as any of them in terms of being one that is rocket fronted, strong in terms of silhouette. That calf's just too frail and refined in terms of his bone and foot to compare to the 3 and 3, and one that wants to arc and tense in terms of top line when we get that one in motion. Silver one that goes on and that one's square in terms of build, deep in terms of side. Again, one that's a little narrow from the ground up and not quite as powerful in terms of total dimension. The opposite is right here in the young lady in the gray sweater. That one is stout as they come in just terms of width and power. That one really gets outside of himself from behind and is not the kind that I gravitate to in terms of look or side view profile. But give them a nice round of applause.
Nice pair of females here. The heifer that we used to win, I think, does so just off of sheer mass and body dimension. A low input, moderate kind of a female. I think certainly be one that you like when you turn back into production. Maybe freshen her up just a shade, but that one's honest in terms of just her outward curvature to her center body. Her overall dimension when you step right in behind her, I think is awfully good. She still puts it all together with the quality look from the side profile. I would like to stouten that one up in terms of her feature at the surface to offset all that added mass that she has from there up. But certainly a quality female there to win this particular class. This is also our division. The heifer that comes out next, the light red female, I think certainly you like just in terms of the way she reaches out of her hip and hind leg. Still bold in the terms of the upper portion of her rib cage. By comparison, back to our class winner, like to see just a bit more of that mass right there through her center body. Like to see her neck come a shade higher to the top side of her shoulder with that added look and extension as we studied from the side profile. Congratulations to both those exhibitors.
Congratulations to class number 8. Entry number 6325, Callie Shine of Watauga, Oklahoma. And in second place goes to entry number 5984, Linnea Johnson of Happy, Texas. They are also your Grand and Reserve Division champion winners. Moving on to class number 12, February Junior Yearlings, calved February of 2018. We have a single entry. Entry number 7150 belongs to Mackenzie Bolthair of Valley Center, Kansas.
I think certainly a useful kind of female standing here directly in front of us in the red Angus ring. And you want to talk about a big-legged, stout-featured kind of a female. Still reaches extremely well off of both ends. So massive right there through her center body. Comes with some added frame and just performance. If that's what you're drawn to and what you're trying to do in your operation, I think this is one that certainly stands out as a model for that kind of cattle. The heifer that, as we study her here in the show ring, maybe like to tidy her up in terms of her chest floor, see her a bit neater in terms of where her tail head lays into her top line. But again, a stout featured brood cow that I think will always work in production. Congratulations to this young lady.
Congratulations to the winner of class number 12. Entry number 7150, Mackenzie Bolthair. We're going to move on to class number 13, January Junior Yearlings, calved January 2018. Entry number 6327, Kaylee Shine of Watauga, Oklahoma. Entry number 6663, BCR Ventures of Bryan, Texas. These entries will
certainly a quality class winner here standing directly in front of us in a heifer that I think, especially on an individual standpoint, you like a lot of things about. Sounded comfortable off of both ends, fresh and honest in terms of her composition. Like that one's look from her shoulders forward and extension, one that I think reads right in terms of the shape and turn to the base of her rib cage. Very highly presented. Certainly a female puts a lot of neat things together. As we compare her back to what we've seen thus far today, maybe like to stout her up in terms of her feature at the surface, but certainly an awfully high quality female there. The heifer that rolls out next, again, one in this population, I think you like just in terms of her low input, moderate look. Like that one's overwhelming body shape and dimension. As we compare her back to our class winner, a heifer that you'd like to see tidied up in terms of her condition and chest floor, one that I think could set down a bit more attractive and comfortable off of both ends of the gelding. But a moderate, low input kind of a female that I think will still work extremely well in production. Congratulations to both these young ladies.
Congratulations to your class winner of class number 13. Entry number 6663, BCR Ventures of Bryan, Texas. And in second place, entry number 6327, Kaylee Shine of Watauga, Oklahoma. We are now bringing back in our first and second place winners for the champion junior female from classes 10 through 13.
As we come back out here for our division selection, I think a trio of females that offer some different parts and pieces. And as we look back at them, I think they all deserve a good talking about. A set of females I think are unique in their own rights. The heifer out of that first class, big featured, I think is the best way to describe this one. Huge footed, stout bone, certainly comes with the most just true body mass and dimension as you study her. Then as you step around and behind her, a female that still puts it all together with a quality look as you study her from the side profile. As you analyze her further, compare her to the two females directly behind her, you'd maybe like to see her tidied up and fresher in terms of her chest floor and just overall composition. Maybe like to lay her tail head a bit neater into the top side of her skeleton. And a lot of neat breeding pieces there in that female at that first class. And for that second class, as we said there earlier, especially from an individual standpoint, sound, comfortable, everything makes sense on that one. She's fresh in terms of her composition, gives you a good look here from the side profile, smooth in terms of her overall makeup. As we analyze her further and look back at what we see, as what we see on either side of her, maybe like you're a bit stouter featured at the surface. I think that's getting critical. Female puts a lot of neat things together. The heifer that comes out of that last class and was second I think certainly a moderate, low input kind of a female, as we said there earlier, just like to tidy her up everywhere in terms of her overall build and design. And then I think it gets a bit closer there in that particular class. All three of them extremely high quality. You'll put your hands together for these exhibitors. I'll go get you a champion reserve.
Congratulations to entry number 6663 BCR Ventures will be your champion female. And your junior champion female. And in reserve goes to entry number 7150, Mackenzie Bolthard of Valley Center, Kansas.
Alright, another really good class, and to be honest with you once again, I think this one here at the front wins for fun. That one takes the positive and unique pieces of the other two in the top three and rolls them into one package, because once again, he's got that come hither look from the side, and yet he's square and massive in terms of his build, and he can really get out and go like a well-oiled machine. And in this particular class, one that you just have to grab so easily. Congratulations to you, young lady. The decision between 2 and 3, there's just more foot and bone and more mobility. In the black and whites here that comes 2, he's never going to be called the coolest looking one or the one that's the strongest and most stable behind his shoulder and top line, but there's just more agility in that particular calf, and there's more mass and substance, and that's why he stands 2. The calf in 3, the star-faced steer, one that's more elite through the front 1/3 of his body. He's tucked in smoother and tighter at the point of his shoulder. He's a calf that's got plenty of shape, and he's one that gets frailer and more refined about his bone and foot. He wants to get underneath himself in terms of the way that he goes, and he wants to tense and tighten in terms of his spine when we put him in motion. And then this black one here, again, leave that one stopped. Really love the look at that one through the front 1/3 of his body, long as a well rope, and that calf's got plenty of power and shape. When you get him behind him, he's too tight and convex in terms of the way that he's built through his rib cage. He gets underneath himself in terms of his movement. He's too high and dry in his flank at this point. Silver one here is one again that's attractive in terms of silhouette, up-fronted, good-looking, flat-shouldered one that's too narrow in terms of the way that they handle his rear two, and one that just doesn't have the overall shape and mass of the ones above him. And then this one here again, in terms of muscularity and shape, one that's got some depth to side, one that's just a little rougher around the edges in terms of look, not quite as good in terms of that side view profile or silhouette. Please give them a nice round of applause.
Class number 14, class winner, goes to entry number 5992, C.W. Johnson of Happy, Texas. Now in the ring is the selection for the champion Red Angus heifer in the open division.
Please put your hands together for all these Red Angus exhibitors and breeders. Brought us an exceptional set, extremely high quality from start to finish, as you heard me say there in that particular, or that first division, just standouts in terms of their breed, in terms of the way they're put together at the surface, their body shape, their overall look, and then it just kept coming from there on in this remainder of the show. I'm not going to go back and talk each and every one of these because I think they all bring a unique piece to the table. They certainly all do the basics that I think that they need to be required to do to a high degree. But I will say thank you again to the Arizona National for having me out here. This Red Angus show is as good as anywhere in the country, and I think if you had the pleasure of watching here today, you can see what these breeders and exhibitors are doing at home. They just come to town to show it off, and I think they're doing a great job putting the work in and making cattle better. Certainly my hat's off to each and every one of these breeders and exhibitors. They're doing a great job. Congratulations to everybody. Hope we'll get you a champion reserve.
Your champion Red Angus Open Female goes to BCR Ventures. Entry number 663. We're going to be bringing in for reserve entry number 7150, Mackenzie Moldenhard. Your reserve champion Red Angus female belongs to entry number 6723, Leighton McMurphy of Canyon, Texas. We're going to be moving on to class number 32. April bull calves, calved in April of 2019. We have a single entry. Entry number 7149, Mackenzie Moldenhard of Valley Center, Kansas. And this will also be your grand champion Red Angus bull after the judges' selection.
In the ring we have Class 8 of our prospects here to show. Class 9, you need to be lined up at the gate. Maggie Haddon, Shaylee Owen, Kendall Castro, Coley Wilkins, Court Tomerlin, Taylor Coker, Addison Owensby, Allison Taylor, Bristol Lesky, Kate Molcock, Dalton Mullins, and Samuel Fodge, Class 9. You need to be lined up at the gate, Class 10. You're on deck. You need to be getting ready. Moving along pretty quickly.
Just a single entry here in a Red Angus Bull Show, but I think an individual that certainly represents this breed to a very high degree. Like this one, just comfort and angulation off of both ends of his skeleton. Love that one's center body. His added depth and what I think he can project onto his daughters and still have the right kind of outward curvature to his center body, I think is awfully impressive. You step right in behind him, and that's a stout bull that can still inject some added just overall dimension and meat animal shape into his sons and whatever goes to the feedlot. I think a bull that certainly covers all the basics extremely well. If you change him, maybe like to see him a bit stronger right in behind his shoulder and pick up his pin set ever so slightly. He wants to round off a shade there, but a bull that does a lot of things to a very high degree in terms of his comfort, his body, and his added dimension. I think certainly awfully impressive. Congratulations to that young lady.
Congratulations, your grand champion. Red Angus Bull belongs to entry number 7149, Mackenzie Moldenhart of Valley Center, Kansas. We're going to move on to class number 51, the produce of two dams. This is two animals by the same dam, either of both sexes, both show in their respective breeds.
I'd be interested to know what this cow looks like, because what she injects into her next generation I think is awfully impressive just in terms of their stiffness of feature surface. Their body shape I think is overwhelming and something that we should all strive to put in the next generation. And then there's still cattle that put it all together with the quality look here from this side profile. Maybe you'd like to tidy them up in terms of their top lines ever so slightly. But the pieces that this cow injected onto the next generation, I think, again, is awfully impressive. My hat's off to these exhibitors. They brought us some good ones. Congratulations.
Congratulations, your champion produce of dam goes to entry number 8179, Mackenzie Moldenhart of Valley Center, Kansas. That will conclude our open shows for today. We will begin tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock with our Junior Heifer Show, 8 a.m.
All right, as we move into this class here, once again,